Hey everybody, it is Stephanie here with Infernal TV, and I'm here right now with Cameron of Inanimate Existence. So how are you?
I'm doing good, just hanging out over here at home and just got up, ready to talk about the band.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's just talk about, I know that you all did a lot of touring recently and you played some festivals, and we'll go and talk about Underneath the Melting Sky in a little bit, but I just want to discuss, like, when you were playing live and when you were touring, how was the crowd reception to the new material?
It seems like everyone's been really enjoying the new stuff, which is really good for us because it happens to be some of the easiest songs we've ever written to play. So, yeah, it's been really great playing the shows, and just everyone's like, a lot of people are hearing it for the first time, and they seem to really like it even just the first time they hear it. So that's always a good feeling for writing new music, that people can receive it well the first time. So, yeah, it's been pretty overall good. We've been selling a lot and selling a lot of merch, and it's been really fun, really good.
Awesome. And yeah, and now I guess going into the new album because, well, I mean, I was just listening to it a little bit before the interview, and I definitely like it a lot. So I guess just discuss, yeah, of course. So and just talking to a few of my other friends who listen to you all, they all say that the album's killer. So I guess just kind of go into your personal views of the album, and especially it's been out for a little while. So I guess just kind of since it's been seasoned with your fans, how do you think that you feel towards it since it's been out for a little while?
How do I feel about how the album is doing?
Yeah, it could be, like, I know that you mentioned that you've been selling the album and selling a lot of merch, and I guess generally, like, how you feel about the album now that it's been out for a while and with the crowd reception and everything.
I'm really happy about it. Like, at the time of writing, you never know, like, how well it's going to do because you just get so zoned into the writing, and I'm writing songs all the time, so I'm my own worst critic. So before it came out, I didn't think it was going to do as good as it's doing, but it's on Bandcamp, really high up on the death metal charts most of the time, and it's been selling a lot, and they've been hearing a lot more positive than negative about it, so it's been surprisingly very well.
Awesome.
It's pretty damn good, and I'm pretty happy about it.
Awesome. I do want to mention the Bandcamp because I did see that on your Facebook, and I think that's really awesome. But I want to go into the lyrical concepts because I read that in the on the YouTube streaming, and I think that's really interesting. The fact that you kind of created a story based on something like that was more of a reflection of yourself and your thought process. So overall, why did you take the approach to have like the alchemist, the fictional character, and kind of take the lyrical approach, using the alchemist as a reflection of yourself?
So yeah, the story thing is something that I've always kind of done. I've always just sort of enjoyed doing that because it makes me feel like the music has more depth to it. But for this one, yeah, I started working on the story like way before even really writing the album. I just always am like kicking around ideas in my head, like when I'm driving around town or whatever. I'm just always like thinking about the story, and it just sort of like becomes deeper, and like the more I kick around ideas in my head, it just sort of all comes together. But yeah, I don't know. One day I just thought of like how it's kind of like being a scientist or something, like sitting in your room and working on these songs so hard. It's kind of like putting together these like weird formulas. So I kind of got the idea to draw the connection between an alchemist or a scientist or whatever to myself, and then I just started like just over time, just little bits of inspiration. I figured out I could think of it this other way and put it in with this character, and the story just sort of built itself. But yeah, and then as far as the music goes, much later, like after I'd already written the story, I wrote out like little summaries of each song, and then so when I write the music, I'd like try to make the music go to like the ups and downs of the story. Like at an exciting part, I'd make the music exciting, and vice versa. If it slows down or something, have like a nice soft part, and try to think of it on those terms. It just sort of like makes the songs have more depth. And I like to make my songs have a lot of that, so people can re-listen to it and still find things.
That's interesting. And I do want to, I guess, touch on that fact a little bit, that you like having, like your songs and your music have more depth. So how do you think that writing a concept album kind of accentuates this?
I think it's good to have like that one topic or that one subject of like the whole entire album, because people can really latch on that way, because there's like the cover art people can see, and then they start imagining like what's going on in the story, and maybe that sparks their interest enough for them to read the lyrics. And I also try to keep my lyrics like really dark so that people can sort of portray things the way that they would think of it. Like I try not to give too much information so people can kind of project their own personalities onto the story. And I think that's really important for people to become like the music to become personal to them. Like it becomes more special to them, I think, when they can have their own sort of ideas of what's going on.
Awesome. And now, I know that you mentioned this earlier, but you're stating that the album, like you wrote the music just so like, it kind of flowed like a soundtrack, because that's what I was thinking when I was listening to the album. It's very like movie score soundtrack. And, like when you mentioned that some parts are more faster or more upbeat, depending on the story, and other parts are more, like mellow. So what do you think, like, is the importance of writing the music to the lyrics?
I think it's just a really good way to keep the music exciting too, because like that's another thing in death metal that you see all the time, is that a band will just like portray like one or two emotions throughout like a whole entire song, like sadness and anger, like the biggest emotions that most metal bands are trying to portray. But there's like a lot more, and using a story kind of like gives you a reason to go into all these emotions. Like I try to do like in the first song, there's a part that's like supposed to be triumphant sounding, like the whole solo section, because like that's kind of what's going on in the story. Like the people are all proud of themselves for what they're doing. So I try to portray like random stuff like that, and maybe not everyone sees it directly, but it's just sort of it just gives different feels to the music. So each song kind of has its own, like your own reason to listen to each song. I think.
Interesting. And now, I know you mentioned that the Bandcamp fact that, your album has been very high up on the charts. And when I was reading around, whether it was like album reviews or just reviews on your YouTube videos, but it seems like a lot of critics and fans are saying that this is your best album. So do you agree, or do you feel like your music will continue to improve throughout the years?
I'd say yes to both those things. Yeah, I think it's definitely our best album yet, because we're always maturing as musicians. Like when I listen back to our old albums, like they're good, but I just see like the more immature version of myself writing, and I feel that I'm always getting better. So I'm already like writing new material for the next album, and I feel like that already surpasses the last album. So hopefully forever I'll always feel that way, and then I can keep writing and hopefully make better albums until I can't anymore.
Awesome. Do you think that, I know that it's, a little early to start discussing the new album, but do you think that you will kind of take a similar approach to future of your material, or do you think that you'll experiment with different methods?
Yeah, I'm always thinking of new things that I like to try to do, both lyrically and musically. Like, we're kind of still kicking around ideas, but we're thinking of doing like smaller stories. Like on our first album, it wasn't like a full concept album. It was like a few stories, and some of them kind of like intertwined a little bit, but it was mostly just single songs. So we're thinking about trying to do that again, just to keep things fresh, and the music would be similarly dark, but it's also definitely an evolution. It's not quite the same. I don't know exactly how to explain it yet, because I'm still working on it, but it's definitely just an evolution of what, how I write. Maybe like some some different influences. Like this one has a lot more Al Di Meola influence. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's an old jazz guitarist that I listen to a lot. It's a lot of him and a lot of like Ron Jarzenbeck and trying to make that like you were saying, that theatrical score style. I get a lot of that from like Ron Jarzenbeck. So there's a lot more of that coming. More of that style.
All right, awesome. Well, we're already to the last question, so I'll leave this one for you if you want to promote anything or plug anything. It's whatever you want.
I'd say just check us out on Facebook and check out our big cartel. We got all kinds of like really cool merch. We got like 7 or 8 merch designs and these flags that just came out, and a lot of really cool stuff. We got the vinyls, so if you're interested in collecting some cool death metal stuff with some cool trippy art, you should check us out, and hopefully you like our music too, and check out our new album that just came out, and be on the lookout because we're constantly working on stuff, and we're going to have more stuff coming out real soon. So keep an eye on us.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening. And just like Cameron said, Inanimate Existence has a lot going for them. They released Underneath the Melting Sky in August, so if you haven't gotten the album yet, then definitely get it. They'll always be releasing new material, so always keep updated on that. I'll be putting in their social media links if you want to buy merch or if you want to find out any touring updates, so you can always follow them. And thank you again for listening. Stay metal.